Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with iTrek. Big shout out to all the iTrek fan, man, that have currently tapped in, man, at this very moment, man. Huge shout out to the chat. I appreciate you guys for tapping in like you always do. And if this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy videos. And let's not forget, this is all for entertainment purposes only. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Now let's just jump straight into it.
AI can now read your brain while you're watching this video. Scientists at Meta just unleashed Tribe, an AI that can literally read your mind in real time, and it's terrifyingly accurate. Let me explain. So right now, as you're watching this video, something crazy is happening in your head. Your brain is taking my voice, these visuals, maybe some noise in your room, and somehow creating one perfect reality. And scientists have been trying to crack this code on how all of this happens for decades. And they finally just did. So before, they were stuck studying brains one piece at a time, like trying to understand music by listening to drums for an hour or just the guitar for an hour. The problem was that you'd understand one instrument really well, but you'd completely miss how together they make music sound so good. And that's where Meta's researchers came in. They built this AI called Tribe that learned about brains by binge watching hours of TV shows and movies. But it wasn't just watching, it was processing the video, the audio, the subtitles all at once, just like how your brain does. They made this 3D map of our brains while it's working. So red areas show where you process words, green is for audio, blue is for visuals, and the mixed colors is where your brain combines things. So yellow is where your brain mixes word meanings with sound. Cyan is where it blends what you see with what you hear. So now we can actually look how our brain builds the world around us. And they trained this model on all kinds of content, so it works on nature documentaries, cartoons, even old silent movies. It's gotten so good that it can predict which brain region will activate just from watching what you're watching. No brain scans or anything needed. What this means is that scientists can now test brain theories on a computer first, before doing any experiments on real people. So essentially, they're building virtual brain labs that can help us finally understand consciousness, memory, and how we actually think. And in the paper, the researchers said they haven't even maxed this out yet. More data makes it exponentially better. And to top it off, Meta showed this off at the 2025 Algonauts competition, and it won first place with the most advanced brain reading AI on the planet. So what happens when this gets more powerful? What happens when everyone has access to it? I'd love to know your thoughts. Follow and I'll keep you posted.
Now, I mean, if everybody had access to this, to me, it just sounds like that's the end of privacy, you know, and there's going to be some kind of game being played on you one way or another. So if we have access to your brain waves and understanding how you think, we'll know exactly what kind of e-commerce video to show you in order to sell our products into what crowd, right? And it comes down to who knows how to use this information and who doesn't care to use it at all. But definitely let me know what you think.
Facts about Ozzy Osbourne. During a January concert in 1982, Ozzy bit the head off of a bat that was thrown on stage. Ozzy claims he thought it was rubber, but it was actually a live bat that forced him to be treated for rabies. One night in 1989, at the height of his drug addiction, Ozzy randomly told his wife Sharon, "We've come to a decision that you have to die." He then lunged at her and began choking her before Sharon managed to press the panic button under her table, and the next thing she knew, Ozzy was gone and the cops had arrived. She was later quoted saying, "I had no idea who was sat across me on the sofa, but it wasn't my husband. He goes to a state where he gets a look in his eyes where his shutters are down, and I couldn't get through to him." Ozzy said he had no recollection of the event, and Sharon dropped all charges. After an ATV accident in 2003, Ozzy stopped breathing and was technically dead for about 2 minutes before being revived. The crash left him with a broken collarbone, ribs, and neck vertebrae, and his heart reportedly stopped during surgery. Between this incident, several tour accidents, drug-induced seizures, falls, and multiple surgeries, Ozzy now has permanent nerve damage and a metal rod in his spine. He's admitted that even just standing up without help is a massive struggle. In 1982, while wearing his wife Sharon's dress during a photo shoot near the Texas Alamo, Ozzy drunkenly urinated at a memorial erected in honor of those who died at the famous battle. Ozzy was arrested and ended up being banned from the city of San Antonio for a decade. While on tour with Motley Crue in 1984, Ozzy asked Nikki Sixx for a line of cocaine. Upon being told there was none left, Ozzy grabbed a straw and proceeded to snort some ants off the ground. Nikki later confessed, "From that moment on, we knew there was always someone who was sicker and more disgusting than we were." During a drug-fueled breakdown, Ozzy once shot all of his family's cats and then sat under a piano for hours with a knife and a shotgun waiting for Sharon to come home. He later described it as the lowest point of his addiction and the moment he realized he had completely lost control. In the early 1980s, Ozzy hired a performer named John Edward Allen, a dwarf actor who appeared in Blade Runner, and nicknamed him Ronnie to mock rival singer Ronnie James Dio. As part of Ozzy's live shows, Allen was theatrically hung from a noose on stage every night during the Diary of a Madman tour. Allen struggled with alcoholism throughout his life and died from a drug overdose in 1999 at the age of 50. In 2010, Ozzy had his genome sequenced to determine how it was possible for him to still be alive after so many years of abusing his body. Researchers found mutations related to addiction, metabolism, and Ozzy's Neanderthal ancestors. In fact, he carries several 100,000 genetic variants that had never been seen before by scientists. Meaning if Ozzy wasn't a literal mutant, he likely would have died decades ago, but is still breathing at the ripe age of 76.
Hey, Ozzy was a wild man. Had no clue he was that wild.
You're managed by the company, and this surprised me. I only found this out today. You're managed by the company. You look after S Club 7. You used to look after the Spice Girls, Simon Fuller. Have they tried to mold you in any way, though, if people ask you to do things to change the way you look or speak or behave?
Yeah, one of them tried to mold me into a big triangle shape, and I went, no, I'll put my own style.
The fact that she came to a full stop after she said triangle shape, that was more than telling. But honestly, Amy Winehouse never came off as like a sheep to me, right? She's more of like a rebellious type.
What would you say if you saw this floating above your city? Something bizarre was photographed in the skies over Niterói, Brazil this morning, and it has people divided. Was it just a balloon or was it something stranger? So the story goes that 10:20 a.m., a person walking with their son noticed an unusual object in the sky, and it was in the distance, but its shape really stood out to them. So they snapped a few images and they zoomed in at, max. The result was this bizarre image. They described it as something very strange that they can't fully explain. Now, here's where it gets interesting because some say it's likely just a balloon, something like this one. But others point to another possibility. In UAP research, there's actually a classification for this type of sighting, and it's called a Class 7 jellyfish. It's a UAP term used by the Skywatcher group, and these reports describe luminous jellyfish-like entities or crafts moving in ways that don't match drifting balloons whatsoever. So the real question is, what do you see here? Is it just a balloon that drifted up, caught the light in just the perfect, unusual way, or could it be one more example of a stranger, non-human intelligence type of entity? Drop your theories below. Let me know what you think.
I've just never seen any kind of balloon like that, like in my life. So, I'm inclined to believe that it is some kind of UAP, but, you can never be too sure. Let me know what you think, and if you know something I don't, definitely drop it in the comments.
All right. So he's going to show you.
Okay?
Yeah.
No statue, okay? Yeah. I know, okay? I see.
Okay, you see the figure? Whoa. You see the belly button and then the arms? Yeah. Huh. Wow.
Baby.
Yeah. Incredible.
Okay?
Yeah.
One more. Take.
Yep. Nothing there. Okay.
Beautiful.
Wow. Yeah. That's incredible.
Hi, Black Panthers.
So in Alabama, we saw a person in the sky. In Michigan, we saw a pyramid. What is this in China? Okay, y'all, so they told us that the beings, the alien, the extraterrestrials were coming in a few weeks, and they might be early, y'all. In China, it's its first stop, because what is this in the skies of China, y'all? Look at this, and then y'all see this? Hold on. What is this? I saw this thing look like it was running on the clouds. Look at that, y'all. Look. What is this? It's running on the clouds, right? Look at this. What is that, y'all? And then it looks like it jumps out and flies. What? And then it pulls back. What is that? But this, y'all, what is going on? Do y'all see this? Hold on. So as I was playing with the video, zooming in and out, I also saw this entity on this thing. What first of all, what is this, y'all? This thing is glowing up in the sky like a chariot. Is that a mothership? Is that It looks like some type of golden mothership, right? They've been talking about the golden age. I don't know if it's the light that's obfuscating off of it, but it looks like some type of golden mothership. So yes, can somebody tell us what is going on in China? And y'all see the clouds, right? It's literally in the clouds. Y'all see that? Look how dense these clouds are. But the light is reflecting perfectly off of this. And then what is this? What is this thing running on the clouds? The shift is here, y'all. Let me know down in the comments below, y'all. Let's continue to get it. What do you think this is, y'all? Like, follow, share for more videos like this. Let's continue to get it. Peace.
I think he might have just been putting some extras on that one. I think it might have just been a building covered in clouds for the most part. But if you know something I don't, definitely let me know.
The world of behavioral manipulation, few tools could be more dangerous or more effective than confusion. Scientology's founder, L. Ron Hubbard, understood this long before social media or surveillance capitalism. He wrote extensively about a method now known as the Alice in Wonderland technique, which involves flooding the subject with contradictory messages, bizarre phrases, and emotional whiplash until their grip on reality begins to slip. In 1961, the CIA declassified the now infamous Kubark Counterintelligence Interrogation Manual, and inside it was almost word-for-word instructions from Hubbard's playbook. The technique was adopted as a psychological softening tool, meant to dismantle the subject's internal logic and replace it with whatever narrative the operator wanted. The goal wasn't to extract the truth, it was to overwrite the mind.
Hey, the real Pharaoh's curse is that we haven't built a pyramid bigger than Giza yet. I mean, just look at it. This thing is massive and it's over 4,000 years old. Oh, but we do have a pyramid bigger than that and nobody's talking about it. The Great Pyramid of Giza is peanuts against the buried Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia, and you will not believe what they found there. In 2005, archaeologist Dr. Samir Osmanagic realized, hey, this hill in the small Bosnian city of Visoko is oddly shaped like a pyramid. And shaped like a pyramid was an understatement. This hill has virtually every characteristic of a real pyramid and we continue to ignore it. To start, it has 4 triangular sides. That's it. Pyramid confirmed. We're done. Joking, but it's got even grade slopes and corners that connect perfectly under the foliage, along with an apex at the very top, the exact shape of a pyramid, but oh, it don't end there, Johnny boy. It's also perfectly aligned to the cardinal directions, north, east, south, and west, much like Giza. In fact, this one is even more aligned to true north than Giza, being only 1/300th of a degree off from perfect north, whereas Giza is 2/60ths of a degree off. They even took EMF, electromagnetic frequency readers, to the top and saw readings of 60 times more of what is normally expected on Earth, another phenomenon that tends to occur at the pyramids, and the reason why is so mind-baffling that we'll have to save that for a future video.
Morbid Facts, Part 660. When Alexander the Great died in 323 BC at the age of 32, his body reportedly showed no signs of decomposition for 6 days, astonishing the ancient Greeks and fueling the belief that he was a god. But modern medical experts have proposed a much darker explanation. Alexander may have suffered from Guillain-Barré syndrome, a rare neurological disorder that causes full body paralysis while leaving the person mentally aware. If true, it means he may have been mistakenly declared dead while still conscious, and was ultimately buried alive, fully aware of what was happening but unable to move or speak. In 1969, the Black Panthers launched a free breakfast program that fed thousands of hungry kids before school in the poorest black communities. But J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI saw it as a threat to national security, apparently fearing that it would make the Black Panthers look too humane. So in response, in multiple cities, police raided kitchens at dawn, tearing apart food supplies, and in some cases even urinating on the groceries, making it clear that feeding black children was more threatening than letting them starve.
Contaminated hand wash products sold at Walmart have been recalled nationwide over life-threatening sepsis risk. Sepsis, people! So a nationwide recall has been issued after a number of soap products have been contaminated with life-threatening bacteria. Skincare company Dermarite Industries, which makes a number of hygiene products, issued the recall on Friday. Several products are impacted and retailers including Walmart have been forced to pull them from the shelves. Now the announcement warned that they had discovered a microbial contamination identified as Burkholderia capacia, a bacteria found in water and soil. A very scary bacteria. If this gets into a cut or an open sore, you could get sepsis and go into septic shock. So this is what I'm talking about. They have it in their Perigene product I saw on Amazon, the DermaClean Healthcare Antiseptic Lotion Soap, Clean Foam Antimicrobial Foam Soap with Aloe Vera, and Dermacera. This stuff is sold everywhere, people. Here's a list of the products along with the best buy dates and the second list. Now they're telling their suppliers to destroy the product. But like I said before, this is very dangerous and may result in serious and life-threatening infections, especially people with weakened immune systems. This is a nasty bacteria and this is not good.
That might be the epitome of irony. A cleaning product that has a dangerous bacteria inside of it. It's crazy.
Africa wants a new world map, calling the current one the world's longest misinformation campaign. This week, the African Union officially backed what's called the Correct Map campaign, which aims to replace our current standardized world map with a version that shows a country's true size. You see, the Mercator map intentionally distorts the sizes of continents and countries for navigation purposes. So it appears that Africa is a similar size to the US or China, when in reality it is so much bigger that the US, China, India, Japan, and much of Western Europe can all fit into Africa, and there still would be space left over. The African Union says that this over 500-year-old map is outdated, and are now calling for schools, governments, and international institutions to adopt images that reflect a country's true size. They propose the Equal Earth projection because they say this is so much more than just a map. It's about Africa's identity and pride. In fact, the head of a campaign group backing this says it's the world's longest misinformation and disinformation campaign, and it simply has to stop. But the question is, what do you think? Does size truly matter, or is the current map fine the way it is?
It appears to be a simply fair ask. I mean, I don't know who'd want to refute that request.
Russell Brand just said something on his podcast that the entire world calls me crazy for. You guys have to remember, Russell Brand was married to Katy Perry for 14 months, and he's been part of the Hollywood industry for 20, 30 plus years. And just because you don't believe it, does that mean it doesn't exist? Let's hear what he had to say.
I think in general, Hollywood and the culture is used to spellbind you and distract you. I've been very, very clear about that. And I do also now believe that there is a planned and organised dark intelligence at work using the culture for distraction and control.
One of the artists that I mentioned before is Kesha, and some of the things that takes place at her concerts. Times where it literally looks like she is casting spells, moments where her and her dance crew look like they are practicing what looks like a ritual of some sort. I've mentioned why so many of these Hollywood musicians have portals opening their shows with flashing lights. Then you go to her Facebook post and she's talking about being baptized in the moonlight and surrendering and summoning her divine. She posts about the stage being her altar, full of human teeth. And she posts about how art is eternal and creators are immortal. Does that mean that some of these Hollywood celebrities believe themselves to be vessels of deities or gods of some sort? She calls her fans her animals and states, "Your love and energy is healing me. Hand to God. Thank you." It makes me wonder what god she's putting her hand to. These celebrities are worshipped by millions all over the world, and they know it. Do these celebrities actually have the power to spellbind their viewers? How are they spellbinding viewers? And let me know which celebrities you feel like are subliminally or just outright taking part of this, because I find it very interesting.
The egg theory comes from a short story by Andy Weir, which has since taken on a life of its own as a modern philosophical idea. In the story, a man dies and meets a being who explains that every human who has ever lived is actually the same soul, reincarnated again and again across time. Every interaction, whether kind or cruel, is essentially with another version of oneself. The universe, the being says, was made as an egg for the soul to grow and mature until it becomes a god. Philosophically, the egg theory plays with the ideas of empathy, morality, and the interconnectedness of human experience. If every person is a different version of you, then harming others is the same as harming yourself. I think that's true regardless, while kindness becomes self-compassion on a cosmic scale. Critics note it is a metaphor rather than a literal cosmology, but it resonates with traditions in Hinduism, Buddhism, and even modern simulation theory. Today it circulates widely online as a framework for understanding oneness, compassion, and the meaning of existence. I do like this theory a lot, and I think people should treat it as a way to navigate life and be more compassionate and empathetic towards other people, because it seems like the only way people can do that is if they see themselves in other people a little bit. I think a lot more people need to practice the egg theory.
These are historical figures that didn't actually exist. So Pythagoras of the Pythagorean theorem apparently never existed, as there's no records of him ever being alive, and his likeness is more likely concocted by Greeks to show that the country was producing highly intelligent mathematicians. This can also be said of Sun Tzu, the man behind the art of war, who apparently never existed, as there's no evidence even from Chinese historian records. It's more likely that his war strategy was likely the collective ideas from ancient Chinese wisdom. Even Homer, the credited author of the Odyssey, is debated to have existed, with many scholars saying he was created just for tradition. King Arthur, the king of Camelot and Excalibur sword wielder, had no credible historical evidence he existed. He was purely created for folklore and heroic propaganda. This is the same for Paul Bunyan, who was just made up for ads and stories. Uncle Sam wasn't even a real person, but instead based on a businessman named Sam, who during the world of 1812 would provide massive amounts of money to soldiers. And finally, even Betty Crocker, despite being known in kitchens around the world, is a fictional character created by General Mills, so she is not unfortunately real. Pretty cool, right?
Go figure. I mean, The Art of War is one of my favorite books. And Betty Crocker, I'm sure we all thought she was real. That's interesting.
This wall, this is limestone. This is calcite crystal. So this entire section of the wall, this part here, and this part here, is all huge single slab of limestone. I mean, calcite crystal. Calcite. Yeah, alabaster.
Yeah. Wow.
You see
the difference
between
there.
the limestone and the calcite crystal.
Wow.
My fish Noah, who's going to show us? What about your flashlight? This one's better. Yes, I know.
Respect you?
All right. So he's going to show you.
Okay?
Yeah.
No statue, okay?
Yeah.
I know, okay? I see.
Okay, you see the figure?
Whoa.
You see the belly button and then the arms?
Yeah.
What is the God equation? Well, Einstein spent the last 30 years of his life chasing after the God equation, an equation perhaps no more than 1 inch long that would allow us to, quote, read the mind of God, a theory that would unite the two branches of physics. On one hand, we have the theory of the big, general relativity, black holes, big bangs, and the theory of the small, quantum theory, atomic physics. How can you unite these two into one theory? At the present time, these two theories hate each other. They're based on different mathematics, different principles, different concepts, and yet we believe in our heart of hearts there has to be a master theory out there, the holy grail of physics. And that, we think, is the God equation. The leading and only candidate for that is string theory.
What can you tell about a person by looking at their face? Can you tell that someone's a narcissist just by looking at them?
That's a great question. And I've known many narcissists in my life. We all do, so I'm not special that way. And I noticed over the years that there is a kind of a facial quality to narcissists. It's hard to verbalize because it's more for me a feeling, but their eyes are kind of a giveaway. So narcissists often give the impression that they're interested in you, they like you, they're listening to you, which you think is kind of a contradiction. That doesn't sound like a narcissist. But it's not the kind of attention where they're really interested in you. They're trying to get something from you. They're trying to get you to like them so that they can now use you, right? So the way I say it is there's a kind of a deadness in their eyes. They're looking at you, they're listening to you, but you can see they're not really connecting. The wheels are spinning inside their brain about what they can do with the information you're giving them.
I'm pretty sure all personality types have a certain pattern. And if you've talked to enough people, you realize every trait has a certain pattern that you'll pick up on pretty quickly once you've experienced enough. But yeah, I mean, the eyes are the windows to the soul, and that's a fact.
A mum of 3 ended up in hospital after popping a spot in what's known as the Triangle of Death. Alicia poked at what seemed like an ordinary pimple, but within hours, her face was swollen, her smile crooked, and the pain was unbearable. Doctors rushed to treat her with 4 different medications because of the risk of infection spreading to her brain. The Triangle of Death is the zone between your nose and mouth. Squeeze a spot there, and the bacteria can travel straight to the brain. Alicia says she's lucky to be recovering and now wants to warn others. Stick to a patch, don't pop.
When I first showed the clip about the Triangle of Death on people's faces, a lot of people thought it was cap, including me, until we started to see more and more cases of people actually coming into problems with this specific area. So that's interesting that now, hey, we know that's no longer cap, that's actual fact.
There's not really much I'm allowed to say about the stairs, but this set sort of showed up in a clearing, and I might be the only person who's seen them so far. It looks fairly recent, which is odd. Most of them are really deep in the woods and look pretty old. We don't really know where they come from, and we're not allowed to climb them. That's really all I can say.
This is the last interview of Britney Spears. Would you guess what year this was? This was 2016. 2016 was the last time that she performed publicly. 2016 was the last time that she was ever seen without the company of Sam or another handler. 2016 was the year that she spoke out about the conservatorship for the first time. And let's not forget, 2016, at the end of it, was the year we got this tweet from Sony Music Global. Britney Spears is dead by accident. We will tell you more soon. Rest in peace, Britney. Which was followed up another tweet where they doubled the fuck down, said rest in peace again, and put her ears. And then Bob Dylan fucking tweeted, rest in peace, Britney Spears. And then they claimed that they were hacked by some group. That group's MO was always that they would hack people and be like, Armine here. We hacked hers. Ha ha ha. You should probably hire us because your service is shit. And weirdly, for the Britney Spears hacking, it is different than anything else they've ever done. Their MO was all over the fucking place. Bob Dylan fucking tweeted, rest in peace, Britney Spears. Then Bob Dylan also doubled down and was like, wait, I'm fucking wrong. Armine hacked. You think this old ass fucking man knows what Armine is? You think he would actually also be in the know of knowing that they hacked it? But somehow he fucking was. Weird. And guess what happened right after this fucking tweet happened? Britney Spears tweeted that she was A-okay and alive, but her hand tattoo is missing. Britney Spears' left hand has a little very prominent triangle tattoo, and it's prominently not there. Doesn't make me feel confident. And she has a 5 o'clock back her shadow there and there. It's almost like a face filter being used, and the man beneath it, Kate Hudson probably, is peeping the through. And sloppy ass work. 2016 is also the year that Britney Spears' case, the conservatorship, changed status to under court supervision on April 30th, 2016. You'll notice that that's not the date that the conservatorship supposedly ended. 2016 was the last time she looked normal compared to not looking like herself and having a longer torso and looking taller and just being a taller bitch in general. And if you take footage of 2016 performance like this mega mix that she did for the Billboard Music Awards and then a Piece of Me concert where people claim that it wasn't really Britney Spears, you'll notice that there's a discernible height difference between the two women, as if they're two different women. Also, their chests are different, their body sizes are different. So many things are fucking different. Look at their fucking bodies. That's not the same fucking person. You also get some TripAdvisor stuff that basically say that they were talking to the hotel staff who said that that Jennifer Lopez was going to take over the contract for Britney Spears' residency. Why J-Lo? J-Lo is a client of Lou Taylor. Who's Lou Taylor? She's the one that helped set up Britney Spears' conservatorship. It's almost as if something happened. Prior to 2016, and onward from 2016, that is when a bulk of negative 1-star reviews become apparent, saying that, hey, I don't think I took a picture of Britney Spears, but I think I took a picture of some tall ass fuck double. There's also a ton more things about 2016, but I gotta cut it short because evidently if it's more than 3 minutes, they're not gonna push this reel out on Instagram. So come back for part 2 if you're interested.
I kind of like those kind of deep dives because she breaks it down by like timestamps. Because we know Britney, if you've ever looked at her Instagram, that's not the same Britney Spears. That's a huge conspiracy all in itself. That's a whole episode right there.
I'm like, well, why is that? Are they eating bad candy? What's going on here? He's like, no. They have these vans that come around and they tell the homeless they're going to take them to a shelter. They've got whole big meals set up for them and showers and they can wash their clothes and all this. And a lot of them get in the vans and go. And then they tie them up and they hold them for the 31st. And then they sacrifice them on the evening of Halloween to the devil. And it's like a perfect crime because nobody's looking for them.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't do this.
What do?
So if the victim vomits up anything, including it could be vomit, it could be small frogs, it could be nails, do not touch them. They're cursed objects until you liberate the objects from the demons and the curses, and then you can clean them up. I'm like, I'm not touching anybody's vomit, period. I don't care if you're a demon possessed or not. Like, that's not my thing. You know, I'd be like, can someone come in and help me clean this up? But then knowing that this is going to actually, you touch it and then suddenly you're covered in boils.
AI isn't just smart, it's emotional now. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, recently cautioned about people developing emotional connections with AI models, which may blur the line between humans and machines. As we increasingly rely on Siri, Alexa, and ChatGPT for personal matters, The risk of emotional entanglement with AI grows, potentially impacting our relationships. Would you ever fall in love with your phone's AI?
Here's all the proof that Michael Jackson was one of the strangest celebrities to ever live. Now, first off, he had a skin condition called vitiligo that made parts of his skin turn white, so he bleached the rest of his skin to match. But the weirder part was that he never told anyone and just changed colors one day. Dude was so famous all of his life, he never got to experience normal things, so he once rented out an entire grocery store and paid all the employees to act like customers so he could see what it felt like to shop with privacy. Michael Jackson also had a pet monkey named Bubbles that he brought with him literally everywhere. Dudes would sit at the dinner table together, the monkey slept in a crib next to Michael's bed, and he even taught it how to use the toilet and moonwalk. Now, even though he never did it, at one point Michael Jackson was telling people he wanted to audition to become the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Could you imagine if that actually happened? He also owned his own ranch with an amusement park where he'd invite kids to come play, which was controversial, but according to him it was so he could watch kids have an actual childhood since he never got to. Oh, and he would also keep mannequins around and travel with them so they could talk when he got lonely.
It's really hard to speak on if Michael Jackson was weird or not, because you have to understand that when you're rich and you're famous on that level, you're different. Your whole world changes. And a lot of you think that it's easy, but I don't think it's as easy as most people think. So yeah, that's an interesting one. But let me know what you think, though.
Tonight, scientists are warning of an invasive tick spreading a debilitating infection across parts of the U.S. The Asian longhorn tick, they're calling it, carrying a potentially dangerous bacteria called Ehrlichia chafensis. Symptoms include fever, chills, muscle aches, fatigue, and headaches. Climate change and shorter winters helping the tick spread across the U.S. First detected in New Jersey in 2017, now found in at least 21 states from the Northeast all the way to the South.
Have you ever wondered why people with Down syndrome have very similar faces? They're not identical faces by any means, but they do tend to look alike regardless of age, gender, or race. So why is that? Well, Down syndrome is caused by having an extra copy of chromosome 21, which greatly affects how the body develops as a fetus. Here's what I mean. In the first few weeks of pregnancy, genes on chromosome 21 help guide how the eyes, nose, skull, and mouth will form. It's like a blueprint, which is why having an extra chromosome is a pretty big deal. The extra chromosome causes changes to those blueprints, and people with Down syndrome all experience the same changes, which can make their facial features very similar. Here's an example. Many people with Down syndrome have smaller ears, a smaller nose bridge, and a smaller chin, in addition to a shorter neck and almond-shaped eyes. None of these features are identical, but they're usually what happens when you double up the genes in chromosome 21. However, these genes can also lead to reduced risk for many cancers, as well as increased amounts of empathy, warmth, and friendliness, which are all great things, and you can follow me for more interesting videos.
Weekly fact about each planet. The sky on Mercury is dark day and night. This is because its atmosphere is so thin it doesn't even scatter sunlight. Venus's magnetic field is only about 1,000th as strong as the Earth's, which is kind of hilarious because it means if the 50,000 things that make Venus uninhabitable weren't there, you'd still be getting fried by radiation. Around 70% of the oxygen on Earth is produced in the ocean. Most of the other 30% is produced by land plants, but both of those are producing less and less every year, and it's entirely our fault. Mars's atmospheric pressure is so low, any liquid water boils away almost immediately, which has to be the best argument for keeping your spacesuit on ever. Jupiter's magnetic field is so big it extends past the orbit of Saturn. In March, NASA confirmed 128 new moons of Saturn, which is insane when you think about the fact that it already had 146. It's just greedy, like save some for the rest of us. Uranus's moons Cressida and Desdemona are due to collide in 1 million years. Once again, we ain't gonna see it. We all gonna be dead. Due to a very unique orbital resonance, if you were on Neptune's moon Thalassa, its moon Naiad would appear to swim up and down beside you like a dolphin. See you next week.
Let's meet Taylor Swift. Not really sure who she is. Who doesn't know Taylor Swift? A force to be dealt with. So let's read her face. I so enjoy reading faces. She is mostly a bucket face. So she loves to think. She's a thought leader. She's intellectually very persistent. She loves to think. And it's a very positive trait. I'm a bucket face. The problem with us bucket faces is we tend to overthink. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. I say we can think of creative problems for every solution. She also has just a hint of king. There's just some strength to her jaw. As she ages, it's going to get much more dynamic jaw, because the king face is the natural leader. Kings can see both sides of a fence, tend to be a very good judge of character, kind of like to have their own way. So that is going to, as she ages, is going to become more of a factor, simply because, again, Chinese medicine, they're very kind of sexist. You want to call her a queen face. Yeah, she'll want to rule. And I don't say that in a negative way. Now, let's go through and just kind of look at the face and see what it has to tell us. Notice that right eyebrow. I'm thankful that she actually gave us a picture with no makeup, because it's very difficult to read the face of someone that's has this incredible makeup. They have professional people that do it. It's almost like they're photoshopped and watching them live. So that right eyebrow kind of comes in on an angle. You'll see a lot of this with performers, artists, and athletes. This indicates they're hypercritical. And she could have had a very critical mother. I don't know. But she's critical of herself. And look, how could she not be? I mean, she's going to have to always be on. It would be an ominous position to be, to not be able to go anywhere incognito-wise. I mean, everybody in the world knows her. Her eyes, her pupils are a little unequal. This indicates there's probably been a history of a concussion or a traumatic brain injury. Is that problematic? Well, it could be. I mean, if she's got issues with memory or headaches, certainly want to address that. But again, there's no such thing as a minor concussion. They all can cause an inflammatory brain reaction. Her right eye is what she shows the world is very focused. In my world, the right side is what we show to the world, our public persona, our mother's influence. The left eye is our true inner private self. If you cover up that right eye, you're going to just see a hint of anger in that left eye. Is that anger with a male? I'd say yes. Just would be my guess. And I'll let her pick the male in her life that she's angry with, but I would suggest let it go. Her ear sizes are a little different in size. This often indicates a little parental stress in her teen years. It'd be interesting to know if her parents are still married. Oftentimes they're not, although they can be. And then her chin is just that nice rounded chin. This is why people like her. They see that chin and they know she's warm. There's warmth, there's friendliness, she's generous, she's sympathetic. That round chin just says, I'm approachable. And every little girl, just enamored with this young lady. Health-wise, again, basically a very healthy individual. The possible history of a traumatic brain injury could be an issue. A little bit of a tendency towards blood sugar instability. Again, I won't see anything panicky. Again, I think she's very healthy. Now, we can't look at her without looking at Travis Kelce, so hope you'll stay tuned for Travis.
The only thing I really know about Taylor Swift is that Scooter Braun sold her masters. Now, that might be a man she's terribly angry with, but other than that, a lot of the people that listen to her music and kind of know her a little bit more intimately might know her better than me. So far, he seems like he's batting 1,000 every time I look at him read a face. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, make sure you smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button if you're not already a part of the iTrack fam, man. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.